Public consultation on budget begins. Schools advised to be careful handling students' photos to prevent deepfakes. And White House Chief of Staff gives Vanity Fair a bombshell interview. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. The government announced the start of the public consultation for the 2026-27 budget. Financial Secretary Paul Chan said the government welcomes the community to share its views and work together to build a more vibrant Hong Kong. Timothy Lee tells us more.
With a public consultation for the upcoming 2026-27 budget beginning today, members of the public were asked about their thoughts and expectations on the matter. This man said he looks forward to some sort of tax reduction, adding that such a measure will benefit residents given the sluggish state of the economy. This woman suggested an increase of allowances for the elderly population and echoed the sentiment of seeing lower taxes. This as Financial Secretary Paul Chan noted that the city's economy remains resilient while experiencing stable growth, despite facing external challenges. He added that the city will continue to cement its position as an international financial hub, adding the government will take steps to increase Hong Kong's competitiveness. In tandem with the nation's 15th five-year plan, the upcoming budget will prioritize expanding the city's economic development, speed up the implementation of innovative technology in the education sector, and further integrate into the nation's overall development. Residents may offer their suggestions through a number of channels, such as a designated website and email. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
3 weeks after the deadly fire at Wang Fuk Court in Tai Po, the Independent Commission Against Corruption has reportedly arrested 14 people, including the former and current chairman of the owner's corporation, on suspicion of corruption related to the renovation work. But none of them, along with those arrested by the police, have been charged yet. Choi Moon-kum, the current chairman of the owner's corporation of Wang Fuk Court, left the ICAC headquarters in North Point this afternoon, saying it isn't convenient for him to speak. The former chairman of the owner's corporation, Tang Kwok-kun, also appeared at the ICAC headquarters. They're believed to have been temporarily released on bail. The Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data on Wednesday reminds the public to be careful when handling children's photos and videos amid deepfake concerns on the internet. Mimo Singhai reports.
Deepfake, an artificial intelligence technology, can imitate and replace a person's face, voice, or actions using personal data contained in images, videos, and audio recordings. In a press conference, Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data, or PCPD, said the Commission had received 5 complaints and 2 inquiries about deepfakes so far this year. To enhance society's awareness of potential deepfake abuses, including cyberbullying, scams, and image-based sexual violence, the Privacy Watchdog gave a list of suggestions to parents and schools. Some parental tips are as follows. Parents should think twice before posting photos or videos of their children online. They should review their social media accounts' privacy settings. Schools are advised to avoid publishing close-up portraits of students and that they should store students' personal data on secure platforms and establish a response plan for handling deepfake incidents. The PCPD also commented on whether the government should adopt a stricter regulatory system on children using social media.
We noticed that in other jurisdictions, some jurisdictions have already imposed a ban on children under 16 to use social media. I believe that the Hong Kong government would take all relevant factors into consideration, whether further restrictions should be placed on the use of social media by youngsters, because this would have major implications on both the social media platform and also for youngsters and their parents.
The PCPD says that most law in the real world can apply in the digital world, such as the use of personal data to create deepfakes, which is subject to the requirements of the Personal Data Ordinance. Separately, the PCPD said they had issued an advisory letter to a gym in Maongshan in July, after a complaint was filed regarding the site's installation of CCTV. The complaint involves a customer raising concerns about the CCTV installed outside of a male toilet, which did not have a door. The center later confirmed to the privacy watchdog that the concerned CCTV camera had not been activated. News 9, TVB News.
White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, along with President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, hit back at a Vanity Fair article that depicted an administration in shambles. Based on a series of 11 interviews, the outlet said Wiles revealed internal tensions and personal attacks against Trump, Vance, and Attorney General Pam Bondi. Wiles said the story lacked context and left out quotes that explained her stance, calling Trump the best president in U.S. history. Nazvi Karim with more.
She is one of Donald Trump's most trusted lieutenants, the first female chief of staff at the White House, a core player in his campaign to win the 2024 election that returned him to the presidency. And despite a Vanity Fair article in which he seemingly exposes the behind-the-scenes Trump administration in chaos, the president is standing by her.
This is, unfortunately, another example of disingenuous reporting, where you have a reporter who took the chief of staff's words wildly out of context, did not include the context those conversations were had within. And then further, I think the most egregious part of this article was the bias of omission that was clearly present. And we see a lot of this when dealing with the media every day. You will leave out important context, leave out comments in fact.
Wiles was quick to respond on social media, calling the story a disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff and cabinet in history. Over a series of 11 interviews Wiles gave to the news outlet, she described Trump, who does not drink, as having an alcoholic's personality, operating as if there is nothing he can't do. She also said Vice President J.D. Vance has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade. And she said Attorney General Pam Bondi completely whiffed her early handling of the Epstein files when she said she would release them before backing off. Trump told the New York Post that he has full confidence in Wiles and even agreed with her that he has an alcoholic's personality. Vance also defended Wiles.
You know why I really love Susie Wiles? Because Susie is who she is in the president's presence. She's the same exact person when the president isn't around. I've never seen Susie Wiles say something to the president and then go and counteract him or subvert his will behind the scenes. And that's what you want in a staffer.
Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the Pentagon will release to lawmakers the full unedited video of a September 2nd military strike on an alleged Venezuelan drug boat in the Caribbean. The strike has been criticized because of a second hit on the boat that killed 2 survivors of the original attack. After briefing senators with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Hegseth said the video would have commentary from the Navy admiral who greenlit the strike.
Is the 22nd bipartisan briefing we've had on a highly successful mission to counter designated terrorist organizations, cartels, bringing weapons meaning drugs, to the American people and poisoning the American people for far too long. So we're proud of what we're doing, able to lay it out very directly to these senators and soon to the House, but it's all classified. We can't talk about it now. We're also going to tomorrow allow the HASC and SASC to see the unedited video of the September 2nd, alongside with Admiral Bradley, who has done a fantastic job, has made all the right calls, and we're glad he'll be there to do it.
Still ahead, first Bondi shooting victim laid to rest. China and the Philippines point fingers at each other over South China Sea actions. And Ho Chi Minh City, Chinatown folks ready to rekindle locals' interest in Chinese culture. Welcome back. In the U.S., police continued their search for a man who opened fire in a classroom at Brown University on Rhode Island, killing 2 students and wounding 9 others. Danny Cho has the story.
A vigil was held at Brown University in memory of two students, Ella Cook and Mohammed Aziz Umizokov, who were killed in a mass shooting on the school campus Saturday afternoon. Around 200 alumni attended the solemn service as the manhunt continues and fear lingers.
I think every single person, both at Brown but also in the wider community, because Thayer Street is a big draw for people from all around Providence and the area, they're thinking, if things had been slightly different, it could have been me.
Investigators have yet to identify who the gunman is. Earlier Tuesday, police released a new video timeline that included enhanced footage of the man suspected to be in connection with the shooting. He was seen walking along multiple sidewalks within a distance from the engineering building where the incident occurred. The suspect was vaguely described as being stocky with a height of about 173 centimeters. The Providence police chief said they had received about 200 tips and pleaded for public assistance in sending footage in their camera systems in the area that might help locate the suspect. 2 of the 9 students wounded in the attack have been released as of Tuesday, while 1 remained in critical condition, according to Brown's spokesperson Amanda McGregor. Danny Joe, TVB News.
Police in Australia charged a man who allegedly opened fire on a Jewish event on Sydney's Bondi Beach, with 59 offences, including a terror charge. This as the first funeral of the victims took place in Sydney. Eli Schlanger, a husband and father of 5, served as an assistant rabbi at the Chabad Lubavitch and also as a chaplain in New South Wales prison and in a Sydney hospital. Jewish people are usually buried within 24 hours, but funerals have been delayed by coroner investigations. The victims ranged in age from a 10-year-old girl to an 87-year-old Holocaust survivor. Volodymyr Zelensky says proposals being negotiated with the U.S. to end the fighting with Russia could be finalized within a few days. David Garrett reports.
Ukraine's president has been handing out medals for bravery to soldiers throughout the war, on the battlefield, in hospitals, at various locations across Ukraine. As he met with one veteran with a passing resemblance to Volodymyr Zelensky himself, on this occasion, the Ukrainian wartime leader was in the Netherlands at a rehabilitation centre where Ukraine's wounded servicemen have been treated. He met medics and patients at the facility as the Netherlands, like many countries in Europe, offer support for Ukraine's efforts to repel Russia. Up the red carpet to meet another man in uniform at the Huis ten Bosch Palace, where Zelensky was greeted at the entrance by the Royal Guard at one of 3 official residences, this one also known as the House in the Woods. It belongs to King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands. Ukraine's president met with the 58-year-old monarch on the day when more than 30 countries approved a compensation body to help Ukraine rebuild from damage caused by the war with Russia. Zelensky says Ukraine may need 200 billion euros. Zelensky signing the visitor's book as he also suggested the ink could soon dry on a peace deal with Russia. Speaking next to Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof, Zelensky saying a proposal to end the fighting could be presented to President Vladimir Putin and then finalised as soon as the weekend. American partners received Europe reaction. I think the American side will contact Russia. After that, there will be a meeting with Ukraine in the US at the level of negotiating teams. Zelensky said that could mark the beginning of an agreement which could come, hopefully, in the coming days. A virtual meeting of around 50 defence ministers from countries that support Ukraine, the Ukraine Defence Contact Group, or Coalition of the Willing, talked up the prospects of peace, saying discussions had progressed further than at any time during the 4-year conflict.
So that we are ready to deploy when peace comes, with troops on the ground and jets in the air.
We will further expand our support to Ukraine and provide an additional 3 billion euros.
Germany adding they see it as their duty to give Ukraine a peaceful Christmas, if not this year, then in the years to come. David Garrett, TVB News.
Beijing has pushed back against Manila's allegations that the Chinese side blasted water cannons and cut anchor lines of their fishing boats in a South China Sea shoal last week. Authorities justified the rights-defending law enforcement activities and asserted the Filipino personnel used knives to threaten Chinese officers. Danny Zhou reports.
State broadcaster CCTV released an exclusive video that showed multiple batches of Philippine vessels intruded near Xianbing Reef last Friday. Beijing said they took dangerous actions and even brandished knives to threaten the China Coast Guard officers conducting on-site control. The Chinese side also sent smaller boats to help rescue a Philippine fishing ship in distress in the waters, officials said, hitting back at Manila's claims that Chinese personnel deliberately cut the anchor lines of several of their vessels.
Do you need any assistance? Do you need any assistance?
The Philippine Coast Guard earlier alleged China's use of water cannons and claimed the shots have injured 3 fishermen and damaged 2 fishing boats. The foreign ministry in Beijing has accused Manila of intentionally orchestrating trouble with no regard of the dissuasion and warnings from the Chinese side. Spokesman Guo Jiakun said the Philippines' so-called fishing ships repeatedly conducted dangerous maneuvers in organized moves, including veering suddenly off course. He emphasized the measures taken by the law enforcement officers were necessary, lawful, restrained, and beyond reproach for defending sovereignty rights. The U.S. has sided with its Southeast Asian ally and condemned China's provocative actions in a statement. A joint sail between Washington and Manila's armed forces was held in the contested waters on Monday, just days after their last maritime cooperative activity. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee has returned to Hong Kong after his duty visit to Beijing. On the final day in the capital, John Lee met with senior officials from Peking University and some Hong Kong youths. The chief executive arrived in Hong Kong with his wife this afternoon. He posted on social media saying that he had breakfast with some Hong Kongers, with some young Hong Kongers who live in Beijing. The 4 Hong Kong youths he met were all working in innovation and technology. He encouraged them to learn from the most advanced technologies in both the mainland and Hong Kong. Lee also met with He Guangkai, party secretary of Peking University. The CE told him about the plan to establish a Northern Metropolis Committee to work on the development model of a university town. He and Guangshai said Peking University is interested in establishing a research institute in the university town. Ho Chi Minh City is home to Vietnam's largest Chinese community. This 5th episode of our series Visions of Vietnam spotlights how young people in its Chinatown work to rekindle interest in Chinese Vietnamese culture among the wider public. Jackie Lin was there.
Walking through Chalon in Ho Chi Minh City, often described as Little Hong Kong. Shop signs and street vendors are filled with familiar Chinese characters. Nearly half of Vietnam's estimated 900,000 ethnic Chinese, known locally as Hoa, reside in Ho Chi Minh City. Growing up in this Chinatown, Quang Mi Tian, a third-generation Hoa, has helped her country rediscover this neighborhood, which has been a living archive of migration, memory, and identity. 8 years ago, she launched a social media page, Chalon Downtown, becoming one of the earliest content creators in Vietnam to document the rituals, language, and customs there and preserve vanishing traits.
We're trying to show everybody in Vietnam, especially the young people like us, to know, to understand that about the Chinese culture is very important and very interesting, so they can know about the culture, so they can find interest.
Her mother believes such documentation fills an important historical gap to be passed on to next generation Hoa. She says no one used to record these things in Vietnam, and more are starting to feel proud of our Chinese culture too. Mi Tian's work has drawn attention to vulnerable elders in the community, including the 6 sisters of Chalon. All in their 60s and 70s, they have relied on one another for decades, surviving by collecting cardboard. They say life has been very hard, but now more people care about them and bring them rice, meaning they don't have to worry about going hungry, and it really makes them happy. More than half of the Chinese community here are Cantonese, and the rest hail from Hainan or Teochew. And because most of their daily life relies on Cantonese, most of them will have to speak the language as well. Jacqueline, TVB News, Vietnam.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.